"Ungrateful fatherland, you shall not even have my bones." These are the words carved on the tomb of Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, the man who defeated Hannibal, saved Rome, and was then banished by the very city he rescued. His story is one of history's greatest ironies. Imagine this: you're 36 years old, you've never lost a single battle. You've marched an army across the Mediterranean, turned Hannibal's war elephants against him, and forced the greatest military mind of the age to kneel. Rome hails you as a living god. Statues rise in your honor. Soldiers offer you a crown. Then, within 15 years, your own Senate drags you to court on trumped-up corruption charges, finds you into ruin, and forces you to flee the city you saved. You die in a seaside villa, far from the Forum, dictating that bitter epitaph. This is the true story of Scipio Africanus, Rome's greatest general, and how the Republic devoured its own savior. His destiny was forged in battle. Into 36 BC, at just 17, Scipio rode into the chaos of the Ticinus River. His father, the consul, was unhorsed and surrounded by enemy cavalry. The young Scipio charged alone, scattered the enemy, and dragged his bleeding father to safety. The historian Livy called him the only light in that dark day. While other noble youths chased poetry, Scipio studied Greek strategy and dreamed of avenging Rome's devastating humiliation at Cannae, where 50,000 Romans died in a single afternoon under Hannibal's blade. By 211 BC, Rome was losing the war. Scipio's father and uncle were both killed in Spain. The desperate Senate offered command to anyone willing to take it. Silence. No one stepped forward except the 25-year-old Scipio. Technically too young to even hold the post, the crowd in the Forum gasped when he simply declared, "I will go." He landed in Spain with 11,000 men and in a single season, captured New Carthage, the enemy headquarters. His audacious plan: wading his troops through a lagoon at low tide while his engineers blocked the sea gates. The historian Publius called it the most brilliant feat of the war. By 206 BC, at the Battle of Ilipa, Scipio deployed a double envelopment so perfect that Hannibal's brother lost 40,000 men, and Spain was lost to Carthage forever. Rome now had silver, ports, and a springboard to Africa. In 205 BC, Scipio, still underage for the consulship, was elected by unanimous vote. He sailed for Africa with 30,000 men and one audacious goal: strike Carthage itself. Hannibal was recalled from Italy after 16 years of unbroken victory. The two titans finally met at Zama on October 19, 200 BC. Scipio did the unthinkable. He turned Hannibal's 80 war elephants into Roman weapons by simply opening lanes in his legions. The panicked beasts charged back through Carthaginian lines, sowing chaos. Scipio's Numidian cavalry, won over by his diplomacy, then slammed into Hannibal's rear. For the first time in his life, Hannibal fled the field. Carthage sued for peace. Rome now ruled the Mediterranean. Years later, in exile, Hannibal was asked to rank history's greatest generals. He said, Alexander, then Pyrrhus, and then himself. But then he added, had I beaten Scipio, I would have placed myself first. Back in Rome, Scipio was granted a triumph unlike any before. He was crowned Africanus, and his soldiers chanted Rex, King. He refused the title. But the message was clear: Rome had found its new Romulus. For a decade, Scipio was untouchable, but heroes cast long shadows, and in those shadows, envy grows. Enter Marcus Porcius Cato, a grim, puritanical senator who hated everything Scipio stood for: his Greek-inspired culture, his popular appeal, his sheer brilliance. Cato saw Scipio as a threat to old Roman virtues. In 190 BC, Cato's faction accused Scipio's brother of embezzling funds, but the real target was Scipio. The political attacks dragged on for years. In 187 BC, on the anniversary of his victory at Zama, Scipio was dragged before the Senate. He mounted the speaker's platform, tore up his financial account books, and thundered, "On this day I conquered Hannibal. Let us not waste accounting pennies." The crowd roared its approval, but the political poison had already taken hold. Fines, rumors, and whispers of tyranny eroded his position. In 184 BC, Cato struck again. Scipio, now broken in spirit, withdrew from public life. He retired to his villa at Laternum on the Campanian coast, a modest farm overlooking the sea. Rome never saw him again. He spent his final days reading Greek philosophy and dictating memoirs that have sadly been lost to history. Visitors found a man who could laugh at his own fate, once remarking, "Rome is like a spoiled child. She loves you only while you win." In 183 BC, word reached him that Hannibal had taken poison to avoid Roman capture. Scipio is said to have smiled and said, "We die together." Then, weeks later, he fell ill and died at just 52. His final instruction was to be buried there, at Laternum, facing the sea, with the epitaph that still stings to millennia later. Scipio wasn't the first Roman hero to be cast aside, nor the last. The Republic had a habit of chewing up its saviors, but Scipio's fall became the template, supreme. Victory followed by supreme ingratitude. His story is a timeless cautionary tale. If you win too big, they'll fear you. If you refuse a crown, they'll suspect you secretly want one. If you save the state may just punish you for it. Yet his tactical genius, his use of mobility, combined arms, and psychological warfare shaped military strategy for centuries, influencing everyone from Caesar to Napoleon to Patton. Today, if you drive south from Naples, you can find the quiet ruins of Laternum. There isn't much left, but on windy days, locals say you can still hear the waves repeating those immortal words. Ingrata patria, ungrateful fatherland. Scipio's life reminds us that Rome conquered the world, but it never learned how to keep its heroes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories of fallen titans. See you next time.